January 20th, 2022. There's another conversation this morning. This morning I actually had a lot of conversations I've been left out of. There's apparently a pair of sneakers, SNEAKERS, that has a value of $, the number 2, the number 0, the number 2, comma, the number 0, the number 0, the number 0, then there's a dot, and then there's a 0 and another 0 for dollar figure. In that exaggeration, but that's what the humans are speaking of. Now, with all things being equal, the people having the conversation are lying through their teeth. In couch potato situation, I've been left out of sports conversations. I've been left out of something he refers to as an influencer. I've been left out of something that he refers to as an artist. But yet the people around the table talking about it and saying, giving kudos and like cheers to some person who died, I've never even heard of as a couch potato. But in their society of where they've gotten to and then entered this job field, which is now in some important feature of communication, they know this artist existed. And they know there's another field of human called a promoter, PROMOTER. With all things being equal, this is what's enjoying equal. I have never enjoyed an equal. I am actually at a disadvantaged and a concerning amount of harm being made against my person, not necessarily directly by what is on the television, but by other circumstances that have happened with shots fired into my skin without proper disclosure and without my knowing, and with all sorts of diseased tissue growing, which is what adipose is. It's a disease. It's not normal. Cellulite is not normal, for certain. When you have a known, which is spelled KNOWN, and then you have a renown, RENOWED, there's compare and contrast between what's acceptable and what's not, for certain. Adipose, I never wanted it on my person ever to grow, not acceptable to grow, and was not acceptable before this renowned happened for lesser important derivatives to have some sense of certainty and now a knowing.
To CBS this morning, it's time to bring you some of the stories that we like to call Talk of the Table this morning. And Nate, you're in pole position.
All right, let's start this.
You go first.
Okay, I appreciate that, Gil. Thanks for the clarification. My Talk of the Table, go ahead and mark your calendars. This is some high fashion, the sneakers that are being auctioned off. And who do I mean? I'm talking about Virgil Abloh, who passed away.
Never, ever, ever have I heard of this. It's a person, according to Nate, the host, the guy on the TV show. I have no idea who a Virgil, and I wouldn't even be able to pronounce Abloh unless he said it first to give me the sounds, because the phonetics don't work in anything that I've ever been introduced to.
In late 2021, now we know he is one of the best fashion designers.
Oh, it also says Air Force. It says it here, Air, and then Force Air, and it has some kind of label over it this is what it looks like on the advertising, but my advertising at Couch Potato, it's almost like a hidden knowledge that it was Air Force like promoted. Now, was that the counterfeit Air Force or was that like the real guys? Just curious. Because I was in Canada once and I walked out of a hotel and there was a big group of very handsome Canadian looking whatever. And they were saying they were having a whatever conversation. They called me trash and a garbage bag. I was confused. I just walked out of a nice hotel at a conference center where our Canadians and Americans get along at the real estate company I was working for. And I was dressed in a professional business suit, completely covered, and just looking for where we were supposed to be directed to in the itinerary of the conference, or if we were on free time. And if one said, "But if I told you I was like incredibly angry at you, would you know why?" And I said, "How? I've never met you before. How would I know that you were angry at me? And what could I have possibly have done, just a real estate agent, to have angered you?" And that was the conversation that we had somewhere else in the world.
To ever set foot on earth. And speaking of feet, he left his footprints in many ways, but sneakers is a big part of his resume. 200 pairs of
It
limited
also
edition
has
Louis Vuitton
checkers on
Air
it.
Force One sneakers will be auctioned off, and we're talking
There he is,
about
Air Force One, he says it.
$2,000. But here's the thing:
That's a retail price.
That's the retail price. So they're going on auction.
Now, they don't say U.S. American dollars, because I hear there's a Canadian dollar, which I don't know what that money system looks like. Again, I was inside of and I used a Visa card. I didn't touch any of their money. I don't know what it looks like. So that's, I don't know.
Auction
That
from
was-
Sotheby's.
you were good looking.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing about Virgil. When he first started, a lot of people paid attention to his shoes, and that's where the artists, the athletes, and the influencers really got to.
Artists, athletes, and influencers, all people I've never met. I've never been introduced to. I've met a few athletes, very few, I could count them on one hand, that were introduced as an athlete. But again, there was no conversation because I'm walking into a whatever where I know I'm supposed to be there for that. It was a charity event. But I had no idea, like I don't know their sport and I don't know their team and I don't have a language of their sport to speak to them at baseball players or football players or hockey players. So then it becomes, well, two strangers in a moment that we're introduced to one another. What do you speak of? Unless you know some history on the person that you're just being introduced to, which normally I don't, so it gets kind of awkward in a human way of human condition.
Got to know him, so this is going to be an auction that will also benefit the scholarship fund that was made in his name.
I think it's wild that, Hollywood keeps remaking franchises from our childhood, Nate.
Yeah.
I feel like the shoes from our...
Now, why is Hollywood allowed to remake a franchise? On whose authority? That's one of, I now see on commercial a lotto scratch-off ticket, a multiplier they mention. And that gets confusing because the way that commercial's written, it's like there's a visual of inequality.
From our childhood are also...
They all come back.
They're just like they're back.
They
No one's
come back
invented
in
a new
style.
shoe. They haven't improved on it yet.
No doubt about it.
What do you think? How much do you think those will go for?
Oh, they start at
that's when they-
2,000.
yeah.
They'll go up to anywhere from 10, 20, even $50,000.
I think so too.
Wow. And you know, he's an artist.
too,
And
yeah.
fashion designers are artists, so when an artist passed away, their art usually.
Yeah, the value
for
goes
sure,
up.
for
and
sure.
they were also good looking because
Yeah.
there were some you've seen you go, okay, I don't know what they were doing there, but those look nice.
Yeah, no doubt.
My talk of the table is a follow up on that T-Rex story we told you about the other day involving Dwayne the Rock Johnson. A lot of
Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cataruzza. So that gets confusing because at my level of human in some canceled culture or forgotten about resident of the same state that all of these people are living within or around or working in and traveling elsewhere while I, for some reason, am just stuck. I have to ask Linda to buy me $100 pair of shoes, and that's even a lot of money. But yet there's some level of human that's conducting itself in this alien monster human condition. They're buying shoes for $2,000. So that's double the 100 and add another 0 in placement value. And all of a sudden now for their one pair of artist's shoes, why is that person chosen to be so lucky to make that much money? And it's a dead person, no less. So where is this equality factor that the humans speak of in this country? Because I see inequality everywhere, but not as they portray it or speak of it or carry the message dangerously and obnoxiously forward. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cataruzza, it's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.